So, Pacho, I just want to give a brief summary about vaccines. What the nim, and we are anticipating say BC, and then after that, no, take specific questions. Until right now, no, in the U.S. there are two specific vaccines. You used to say Pfizer and Moderna. Both vaccines, no, 2 doses. mRNA vaccines, and I'll talk a little bit about that in a few. The biggest question so far, Mete and I said, Minyane said, normally, no, it takes about 15 years, and Sana, yet to me, and your vaccine. Then away there, yet to me, and within 1 year, into and your papa, and I also say, Yakate corners. The truth is, in short, the reason why this vaccine way was possible, no, near mammy and son, Nimdia say, ya war, Sika, a war, and technology. So ideally, no, an answer under normal circumstances, no, vaccine and son, no, has to go through what we call pre-clinical phase or pre-trial. That takes 4 years. That pre-trial, no, basically, no, scientists, no, design what they think the vaccine has to be. And then you can't mind, no, because we don't really know what it has to be. And one say, but what happened with COVID-19, no, vaccine, no, is in 2013, we had SARS-CoV-1, which is a precursor to COVID virus you're dealing with. No, SARS-CoV-1 is also a coronavirus. And scientists already had virus no genome no sequenced. A mRNA virus. Once you have the sequence, no, all you have to do is to fit whichever specific one you are dealing with. In this case, no, which will be the G protein. Bind it to Nipa SL. No. And that information was already there since 2013. So we skip 4 years, or we get 4 years ahead of time. Then the phases of vaccines or trials begin. Phase 1, you're dealing with safety and all those things. mRNA, since 2013 as well, have been studied for vaccines in the past. No. Because we try and the scientific community, or immunologists now are trying to say they will be able to use mRNA as most of the vectors for vaccines. Under normal circumstances, we will use a vector virus like adenovirus, which is Johnson & Johnson, DNA or more. Instead of doing another 2 to 4 years in the second, in phase 1, which will be a second step, already, they are now going to use a viral vector into SAV a whole couple of years as well. And then when you have a phase 1 vaccine, you want it to go to phase 2, you need money. In this situation, government made money available, and the fact is that mRNA sequences already pharmaceutical companies were able to do what we call de-riskment. Say they didn't have to take any risk because they already knew it was safe. And instead of taking a year to get the data, they didn't have to do that. The third component was that specific stage, the number of cases. Whenever you were epidemic, nipa dodo say na infected. The number of people are infected, that will give them more data. Unfortunately, this happened to be a pandemic, so cases were in abundance. And they didn't have to wait for people to actually get sick. People were getting sick and dying with every single minute. And the information or the data was there. All they had to do was just go ahead with their clinical trial and then see what they get. And then phase 3, which usually will cost anywhere from $300 million to $500 million. Like I said, the money is already there. And, they were able to just push that through. Right now in the US, we don't have approval for both Pfizer and Moderna. What we have is emergency use authorization, very different. Because usually, when you submit a vaccine protocol to FDA, it has to sit in a queue for like a year. And then after a year, they will go review your data and all those things, and then get back to you. In this situation, it didn't have to wait. To the very moment FDA got it, they put it through to emergency use authorization. I must say, sir, UK or EU, the European Union, have actually authorized both vaccines. For them, it's not on emergency use authorization purposes. Authorized vaccines, including AstraZeneca. In the next couple of weeks, we hope Johnson & Johnson will be available. The biggest difference, in the market, with Pfizer and Moderna, 2 doses. We will talk about why with questions about But Johnson & Johnson, is 1 dose. There's a lot of pros to it, but there are cons to it as well. We will talk about that, depending on questions I've been, In summary, I think this is what we have now. As to what we don't know is the get both vaccines. You have neutralizing antibodies. We have seen the data support it prevents you from getting COVID disease. But what we don't know is how long the antibodies will remain high. Logistically speaking, it should remain high because any vaccine you get in our life. But the question is, would we need a booster vaccine, let's say a year from now, 5 years from now? That we do not know. What do we hope to happen? We hope with more vaccines coming in, we'll be able to vaccinate as much as possible. Right now, as of 2 weeks ago, Israel had vaccinated 42% of their population with the first doses. US had vaccinated 11% of our population with the first doses, and then 3.5% with the second doses. That is as of 2 weeks ago. That was the last time I checked the data. This is kind of the summary of everything specific questions. And I think Sana Obi Wechir Hono Man and Saso Kane and Sana.
Just to add to what Dr. Joe just said, Johnson & Johnson, even though their trials 1 dose, even as we speak, the latest data, they're even trying a second dose because of the variants now, airborne, and they're doing a separate study for 2 doses. But for now, it is 1 dose that almost a secure EUA, emergency use authorization. Yeah. Okay. We're ready for
Me pacho, me question, no ye no. Ye di kind say, I'm sad Bruno by no muncheche mono enya embapi. In case ebia me koji vaccine no, me then who say ebia me allergic to some medication no. 2. Bia na me recover sa yare no bi. De bia me bibia ye okay. Ebe hia say me je dro no na me de abo me ho ban.
Okay, yeah, that's it. So your vaccine, 2 questions now usually omubisao. Within the last 14 days, what take any other vaccine? And nothing. So have you ever had anaphylactic shock reaction to any other vaccines? If you answer no to these 2 questions, they are going to give it to you. After you get the vaccine, you're going to stay there for at least 15 minutes for them to monitor you and to know if you're going to get any reaction, any allergy reaction, you're not going home to find out right then and there. No, it will happen, and there are people there to take care of that. And with second question, and so as we all know, like flu vaccine, but and yes, when you're flu now, the vaccine, you take the vaccine to protect you. Say, so when you're flu, right? Yeah, like the way now be reacting is and when your vaccine, maybe and kaboy baba wato hono. So when your vaccine, oba yare krana, so that's the whole idea with this vaccine, say. Once the vaccine is introduced to your body, your body makes antibodies against it. And say you're no man who said, okay, say you're because our bodies have memory cells. And they are ready to attack it. And it's and I'm saying when your vaccine now, our body I make up the defenses against it, no my attacking. So in Quebec, say I don't know if I'm making sense. Yeah. Yes, you're. Yeah.
Anna, to add to that question, so, and Ntim, sir, who give a vaccine, they will give you a keeping record after. Maybe I said, Stella kind people work, work by the Paniano, 15 years to monitor you. So the BNC, now, they will also advise you to keep them informed, also report to. Tibia, me way now, Chini. Now I don't say, Regina, last week say, Dominica, I know I want to do it. No, I say, what can any, but on Philippe. I had Tibia, wow, 36 minutes, yeah, watch on one Philippe beer, what could feel, Adiachi, maybe you feel some, way beer. You have to report to them. Anna, by feeling other sentences, which is in the Obuha, Obe Philippe, Obianco. Vaccine, you might not feel anything. Somebody might feel something. Because you must have the symptoms of that virus. In a way, it's good because now your body, vaccine, it takes a couple of days for your body to mount defense system. And as your body is mounting that defense mechanism, we're going to go through that kind of we feel symptoms, That's the time you are developing. And by maybe between the 10 to 14 days, then your body must have finished, mounting that defense mechanism. And Ntim, sometimes a question says, to me, what vaccine you are? Am I okay? Do I have to wear a mask? Yes. Because our vaccine in there. If you you were exposed to the virus about a few days ago, it have not shown any clinical science yet into our and no interest you are protected. Anna, maybe during the time now when I feel not the what infection you got, I feel not ever manifesting. And you are still not out of the woods yet. And there has been a question, I don't know if somebody can answer me where we are. Do I still have to follow the protocols? Yes, you do. Thank you.
Me pacho, my question is with the vaccine, your age, it's a say over vaccine, and I say your youth, no. I quite that was a woman, I am more vaccine.
So, nj.gov website. So, Oklahoma, say they are in phase 1B, meaning say if you're 65 and older, you are eligible to get it. But if you're 16 to 64, let's say other comorbidities, heart disease, kidney disease, obesity, you can also get it. The vaccine starts from 16 and up.
Question. Vaccine, Musia, you won't. Me suffer sick. You are suffer be. Yes, suffer we. I could be a man in a bomb pie. Or say, Bible Church, I dear way, no. A plan be uncle for a pat, Tessa Mode, a danny danny near William. Now, so me just suffer thee. Vaccine me one. As on the most near went to Musumin and we are jiddy for. The mama quantre. I don't know. Many myself with me. And as a science for a young person, we be sure me, and I'll send me Geo Moody.
Yo, yeah, that's it. We shall for the attendance, I said, yeah, all kind of correct. And the history is also there. Said the Dr. Churchim. The question when it comes to the Black Americans, in him syphilis, said you buy the way I'm rough the year blast and all those things in the ewo. And now we into the abba. You cried a matis almost say. Mr. Chairman, to me and Chimuye. Into the air can said the announcement was said the Dr. Debrah Churchimuno. There's no proof that there's any spiritual entanglement when it comes to this vaccine. Eye yadeɛ na aba onyankopɔn ko anu nim sɛ de yadeɛ den aba yenim the real source ama akɔfa we nyina aba na mmom sɛ de yɛ bɔ mpa yɛ sɛ awurade yi saa yadeɛ den efiri yɛn so no ɛma COVID-19 ma yɛntimi ɛnyɛ deɛ wɔso yɛ na yɛntrente yɛn ho no ɛne nyame ayɛ adom Bible sɛ onyankopɔn bɔ onipa sɛ ne nsa so ɛne ne su so God has given man the wisdom to be able to endure on this earth. Unyamia me nyansa ya detra asase so. Nti vaccine ya bai aya onyankopon akwanche ode amayen enam onipa nyansa mu. To unyame na anya aye adom ana wache onipa nyansa se akwan se na mbefa so ade abom ho ban free sa ya de ebu. To say nyame aye adom na se nya sa vaccine now why are we talking about all these say stuff? Ebinimo say, I bedu baby kurawa ngo vaccine bia untimi nto kwan. What does it have to do with 666? Mako Ghana ba me test ni bi wa ha me kodri Ghana asan me test ni bi. This is global thing. Inte bedu baby no who vaccine bia I give you the privilege to travel around. This has nothing to do with 666. Inte asremo the can say ye the gidi say asofo no senior obia won the privilege ye church ideology and your biblical ideology so the Methodist Church Ghana the Omami Atias and so we believe this is an intervention of God through human wisdom. In the idea ye jitu say ebeboa yes obia the etimi obi. But I hope the question is answered. Thank you.
Hallelujah. Actually, also for us, information I say. And the entire me beside this question is I also work as a molecular technologist and as a quality control. We have connections with people who work in Pfizer. So 2 people of our colleagues also work in Pfizer. Now we have a clinical path that we have to take. And I'm just so concerned about the fact that we stand here and always say that people should take it. And with that, Joe Debrah said, it's not by compulsory for each and every one to take this. I just want to clarify this, that we have experimental phase and we have clinical phase, as Joe said. Majority of the vaccine that we're putting out there, say a year soon a day, well, say an air vaccine, these doctors over here cannot tell. At the end, they say they're bad nurses, they're bad doctors, they don't even know exactly what is inside. Ntim can say, said ye penny there, from my experience and my knowledge about this, I wanted to know, say, Dr. Sewase, are they 100% sure of what they are injecting other people? Thank you. That's it. So, answer your brother Prince's question, which I think is a very important question. May clarify a statement about what Brother Collins and Mickey about when you get the vaccine now, say you still wear mask because you know how long and what amount immune response. The data that we have right now, actually say obi inya COVID-19 yarea na ne hoto you check it titers, which is the amount of neutralizing antibodies what or more emojamono. We realize that they have defense both mucosal and systemic. What that means, they say lower respiratory or lungs near adeno. They have protection. And then they have protection. That is not the same for vaccines. What we have found is that vaccines will give you systemic immunity, which is lungs and things, but you can still replicate virus, or upper respiratory tract, you can still replicate virus. So it's very important, say, even though our vaccine, our 1 or 2, it's still important, so we share mask, to protect unya. As Christians, we are each other's keeper. Abontenso for enya as Christians we will do. Now to your brother Prince's question, So the short answer to it, they say, yes, we know what we are injecting. The reason why I say that with confidence, they say, when you talk about experimental phase and clinical trials, they are very different. And I say, under normal circumstances, vaccines go through various phases. And to what you are attributing to where we do placebos and the actual vaccines, that has to happen before we get to stage 3 or phase 3 in vaccines. Right now, we are past stage 3. And that process, yes, it had to be done, but it's usually done in stage 1 and stage 2. That is why Moderna released data say their vaccine is 94% effective. In Pfizer released data said their vaccine is 95% effective. So what Pfizer did, what Pfizer did was they tested it on 43,000 people, and Moderna tested it on 30,000 people. They split them equally. In Tinyasa, Nipa 40,000, Wahana 3,000, no, they split it equally. And then they gave saline in to say the Debrah and Ekano to half, and then the vaccine to the other half. And then they did the study, acquired the data. Moderna, they tested them for COVID infection every 2 weeks until their study was done. So right now, what you are getting injected is the vaccine. I know, sir, when we come to church, there are a lot of questions about vaccines. And as a Christian and as a physician, I give room for people to express their doubt when it comes to how vaccines are tested. That is a legitimate concern because people have issues, say, Adena, say, yeah, phase 1 trial, yeah, try with Nipaso. The truth is, you're free in Kurana, Nipaso Nieba. We don't go anywhere else. So from mice in the lab, it's human beings in a controlled environment. Inti say asore dan ya nipa 43,000 in guha. In a year monitor or more for 6 months and things like that. So people have concerns about that, and I would say that is a legitimate concern because the question is say, okay, into nipa 43,000 now more year trials no almost no say omu ya chese ye kumo. That is a legitimate concern because even one life lost in a science experiment is somebody's mom, dad, sibling, grandfather, you name it. For me, personally, that is a concern. But aside from that, logistics being aside, when it comes to, say, the science world trying to use this as a means to introduce 666 or things like that, there is, let me put it this way, say, science 4%, ye pekwan bi ni injected ni penyina with 666. We have infrared. Or cell phone ne crown infrared. Why don't they just blast it through gamma radiation and then get everybody infected? So sometimes, and I had a very heated argument with one of my patients about this. The theories out there are concerning, but we are talking about a matter of life or death. I've seen people die, and I've seen people recover. So when you meet someone and you say, Satan, a person your day, say, bar. Come on. I don't know how to explain that. And I will end this answer with a story. I heard not too long ago. Also for bit nase. Edene home nyame ye. A bomb pie ye devotion ye bibia. Eno one na soremba a call in Sio beach. Sofuno sa onim adware. Enti nkomodidie mu ano to nsuo nim. Na nsuo no ye said na ekọ. Na sori pani yi aba say nko nsom na wonye dai onfomra. Sofo ne se da bi nyame begeme. Ena nsuo no atwe ne kọ. Okọ na nyame ye adom. Nkofo e de boat enam nsuo ne so. Ena divers ne ba kutom because we so be struggle. Ena okọ say so mensa na menfa anko o se da bi kọ. Nyame ebegeme. Ena sofui emmemoye we. No call heaven ena obisa Christo say, "I rade ma sumo no kremu. Ma ye bibia o ka se menye. E me gidie kire me say, wutumi je nipa firi bibia em. Nti adan na mem na mefra wo se begeme no. O am begeme." And the answer was say, Mesuma wasore pani ba on chain. You rejected him. Mesuma diver ne say ombe you. You rejected him. Into what could I have done more to get you out of this water? A word to the wise. Pacho, Brapens or question no. Patrick, sorry.
Thank you. Acho, me da sive Dr. Joe can't way about heaven. My question was about chairman Ediano. I was here for now. My question is a soft for now. All catcher was say, man, Jeno. Na Ntim oil no, ultimate the COVID-19 nana. I have Busana say. Woman yaren sign was my yare. I was here in the face of COVID-19, anointing oil to me new. Until Koya ya ube, a bin sukra now in a year, ube cobra and something. Oh, yes. Until ma, I am the say, Papa Busas, our question no. The Orca say. Yes, 666 into men genome. Our yes of will preaching. No. So we tip the air busa. And I say Facebook and I know I say suffer. COVID-19 no. Saying what to me as sa. What do I na a go on a buy a car say a cop. A bean see. And so say be ba. That fear a fear. Mesremo. Nyame wasame ye nyansa. And so the same as Abraham, Lazarus, Danakukum, Yansma will be. So if you are waiting, so Srabofu Nebaya, Srabofu Biama, Doctors Yana, Saya. And so you pray and then go and take it, please. Bisa, or suffer crony and suffer the say, we send Nipa say Yare, COVID-19. Thank you.
Pacho, Sister Gift in South.
Pachami bisa say what tested COVID-19 positive now. How long and I was okay vaccine. Over to me our vaccine right away and now say you have to wait for a while before you can do the vaccine.
The recommended CDC guidelines is 90 days after you test positive. So
If I show 90 days, no okay. Now I have to say something about that question. No, make us out of the monfancheme. Say the right now, no, the recommendation is say even when you are no crana still or vaccine no. And when we had a panel, I think about 2 weeks ago, when we asked that specific question, say how many vaccine doses in that, say, "Obia when you are really be no no." They say right now the guidelines is 2. Immunologically, that doesn't make any sense. On our question, we have questions too, because one, so will be any area now. he or she is already primed or what, some antibodies. So it doesn't make any sense to say, mensanko mienu. Say unya yare na owo one is priming you, and then the second one no actually gives you a very great number of neutralizing antibodies. I must also say, the second vaccine shot, no, you have more. We've seen, the frequency of side effects, no, more common than first one, no. Into obi first one, no, and sape enebeya or second one, no, wire fatigued, the temperature costro, awo atia gunesonia day. Those are things we expect to happen, and they should resolve within 48 hours. So far, that's what the data shows, and that's what we know. Per guidelines, no, yes, after 90 days of infection, no, obey me our vaccine, no, but within the scientific community, no, we still arguing with them, say why say SSL more 2 doses, because their system is already primed. And that doesn't make sense, and we are still trying to figure it out.
Meka kakra fa vaccine no. Me here at hospital, nyame anim no krani. Me free Ghana by I've been working in COVID floor since 6 months ni. Ehwa na me here adwuma. I see people that say, "Ya di omu wura ma na omu." Ya di bi so beto a 2 weeks in do no omu. Akola for 2 years. Ya di ni wura ma no wu ye. Like wo ho no ma uhu ni esinti no. Mama my dream vaccine no yan wo for chances. What dey wo na hwe dey be ye wo. Say unya adwuma na say uhu say I'm serious, like unya adwuma hospital na uhu say bia ye obi a aya na ye fa ne tra o. Many person na America no. Just yesterday akola 5 years wo because when you COVID. Just 5 years. Ya found one because when you're 16, send your more camera. Maybe I'm trying to make a motor say. You try because flu shot, you what? Is you cry no more? You won't. My friend is saying, impression won't. One of my to be true. Is you cry no one way to be true. And also, yeah, and no, yeah, in the beer. Palakra one of my winner infection. It's no, Miss Ramo, mommy, I try. Na yan hwe de be ye nyame de oboye ho ban de but say ehwo nim de ba mom ye ntra wa mpa mo chew me ma wo me de mienu nyina na me gina ha why enso mesra mo
Sister give him back your question no when you miss na ya answer dada. Oh, okay. Francis. Oh. Yeah, Francis.
If I'm sure, so the person beside say, Africans, especially Ghanaians, obit me catch us or not there. When you so balloon, when you're not kikadra, when you have vaccine, dear. If I'm sure, a dear no more a catcher, signing pan. Yeah, that's it. I was for said the pneumono virus no starting from your nasal mucosa. I started umrimuno hinimu. Into the ye sober ne akikadruno and those things na ye say it stays there for 3 days before it goes down. In the sa no man so say e wonum na nyanko lower respiratory system no ma etimino. And into no we believe say eboa. Tiana me catch especially Ghanaian community and say, but I do woman say, oh, so I didn't 3 days na descended. And he said, no, so borono. Next one, my dear one, no the other day now, the virus is already gone down if you have it. Into a yes, obey the hour, no, at least continuous, at least every other day. Into no, a day, boy. And you crow moon said, I keep telling my people, psychologically, don't lose guard. Because Nina, a boa my heading, it's in my heading, a coffin. Especially ginger is very good. ginger akeka duro no nti na ne de ya de a eboa nti na nya de a but the enim say enanyo the answer to the whole thing, because once it goes down in your lower respiratory system now, those things need to mean your thing and your juma. Internal some I hope say or I know yeah me that's it.
Yeah, see what it can. Yes, but scientifically, so we have to be very careful. We have to be very careful because yes, so bolo might help you, but what can we moves? So bolo somebody buy 4 different items na year. And to be very careful, sometimes while I'm here, you have good intention, but it can work against you. And scientifically, may have a little bit reservation. My in-laws must say, Berman, Omunum Paba, and Omuya COVID, but they believe, say, Koma and Nubia, Anka. How they got attacked, no, it would have been worse. That's fine. So we have to be very careful. Scientifically, yeah, in every, we shouldn't put our trust in that so bolono too much. That's what I would say. Yeah, let's be very careful on that.
Mepacho, I have to say this, Ansana, because my work is on the line here. The fact is that, I don't want the misconception not to go out of here. Say, Ebuano will quite best. But you, we know, say, COVID, no, the early symptoms, no, is just like the flu. Flu symptoms, no, ultimately taking Yama a more, she say, even me personally, say, flu na me puno, what they into my crew, that helps for symptoms, no. It's not stopping you from getting the infection. Oh, yes, so bolo boentino, obinya COVID as so economy. Yeah, so symptom wise, no, it makes you feel better. But it does not preclude you from getting the disease. And I said, yeah, still what kind, virus doesn't replicate in your throat or in your mouth. It replicates in your lungs. Intino say, what starting early onset symptoms are. Now, okonum so bolono na ufili better kakra. That doesn't mean say woyare no is cured. Mr. Mo, I hope say mudaho. I just didn't want us to go out with misconceptions. Say so bolono Pacho, a question.
Oh, my question, then is so when you go get this vaccine, they ask you for your insurance or your social, right? That's okay. Me call is Sandy Ibisame for my insurance or my friend is saying or my social. That was always on the paper. And so with that being said, will be our only insurance, no only social security, no nya corona na COVID na. How would the person? Most say 90 days. Is there anything for a person like that?
Okay. They may say because you were pandemic, so our health insurance, your insurance covers it. So we need insurance, then the state covers it. Most of the time, maybe your social security or driver's license number, and that's all you need. You're not supposed to pay for it. And our insurance, by law, also insurance for Chiaka. We need insurance because it is a pandemic. The government have to step in and pay for it. And to be on or call COVID the and even needed the test in the crown. So correct test near juice car because a private when you go to the urgent care setting, they almost charge you administrative fee. Test Nankasana is for free. And
this is say if healthcare has not been affordable, this is the time. And don't be afraid to say, me need insurance, me need krata, and to me. I've been talking to them, that's why I even brought this, and I'm glad you asked. I was going to talk about it anyway. So what the SS County here, we have the, if we have other county, that's what we know, Mami, contact me, I'll help you. SS County, we have a number to call or website to call. That insurance is a much formality. Where we're taking the demographic information, we did a bed, or you're black, and I say you're white, kind of. It's just formality. Only insurance, dear, why you couldn't say no? But only insurance, we have under-insured, insurance, and certain insurance into here. You have under-insured for no, or insurance on Yahoo. Almost all. You don't have to pay a dime on this. You don't have to be afraid, say, one crack and say, you don't ask for ID. So, any ID be until normal Ghana, you know, any person in Krata. All you have to know is your Ghana passport, just to show, say, hey, me, I could more, me, and you don't be afraid. I don't have insurance, I don't have papers, whatever. Please, this is the time to take care of your health care, especially this pandemic. Thank you.
Pacho, obi a question with Rona. Mr. Your healthcare providers are not police or immigration lawyers. Say, Oyaria, not just COVID and but as a person, America na Oyaria. Emrama or Kwan say, Obeko any healthcare facility, a yes statewide or government wide, and be taken care of, Mr. And if you say, Mekwa, any yebe, bisami social, mini social, no. Oyare no waba. That's all we care about. Ordnam Street na mishiawa, I will not ask you for papers. Inti no say, maybe a tow emergency room or papers no doesn't really matter to me. Nienti awo hono ne matter to me. Inti sa oyare I've heard comments say yemubi wo honoma yenim kofo yare but omuni nkrata enti oma kafie ni ade. That's why we have people like Bra Collins more and things like that. Reach out to them. There are resources a bit to me taking care of those bills near the no who emuba kokra enti mesra wo yare ko hospital and answer say the obey bia.
And to add to that, Chrome High Castle for the dear American. What do you call? I don't have the bill with the Beba. Or the banner say, won't mean to you. Yent mean choke, because I go to mess up. And please, I won't this because of the amount we know some moon in Krat and Tiana Omubu. So it's one idea about Edama. Please go. Go there and get one for bill number. About don't cry over it, please. Didi, thank you.
Hallelujah. Bra Collins said that's it. Pacho ye da munya na mase. Me pacho sir munya ho a mubeti me call clinicaltrials.gov. And I think there's a lot of information there where we can also get to know. We're talking about numbers and figures here. And people in the lab comes with the numbers and figures. And you know, you bet me I say, oh, during the trial, way you say and way you say. But what if about 5 years or 10 years to come? It's not like that. Now my question back on some maybe I say, we're talking about trials here and there. Yeah, they are paying for so yeah trials nibiana. Yeah, they are paying for pregnant people. Because right now I know for a fact that they are saying that if you're pregnant, you're not supposed to take the vaccine. You can. Until when we are talking about all these stuff now, the patron besemi bisa and also na yenianuma almost amen. Amen.
Your brother Prince has said, as a may answer Prince questions in so there is no recommendation so you're paying for a man what vaccine no. The CDC guideline is talk with your doctor about it. The reason why is because under normal circumstances, no, we don't do trials in pregnant women or children until your phase 4, which is post-marketing surveillance, no, out. That takes about a year because you need to vaccinate millions and millions of people to see how it affects everybody. However, one, they just started trials in pregnant women and children with Moderna, and I believe Johnson & Johnson is doing that too. The second part is every time when we are in vaccine development, Obia won't be until for Pfizer, Nipa 43,000 no, and then Moderna, Nipa 30,000 no. They were all supposed to use some form of birth control. But as normal human beings, no, not everybody obeys it. the data that came out of Pfizer studies, out of NIPA 43,000, placebo group, I think a more 13, and a more during that trial period, and then the vaccine group, NIPA 11, and then with Moderna, it was NIPA 6, our vaccine group, compared to NIPA 3 or 4, placebo group, So what basically that showed, they say, even though they did not adhere to the recommendations, they should be on birth control one way or the other, they got pregnant. Some of them have delivered already, in Kwarano, are healthy. Some haven't delivered yet, they be more so enyam. But it's too small of a number to make any scientific predictions or calls on that. All we can say is, and I have actually read that data myself, I can say, it's reassuring, say, nipa na enyemo ya nonkwara okay, but strictly speaking, we don't have the data to prove it. Inti say, wonyem, and I say, plan is fro, and whenever I do the vaccines, I ask that question. Usually maybe some 94, not 85, or send very on bestre. But onyem, and I say, se onyem, na oye juma, woman say, health care environment be exposed to nursing home for near there. We know, say, your risk of getting the disease is higher. Then the recommendation is, say, get both vaccines. But you say, high risk, nursing home, hospice, and things, places like that. The recommendation is, say, talk to your doctor and get both vaccines because your risk is higher than the normal population. So, sorry, if I say you're working from home right now, you barely go out, unless it be about, sorry. Now, talk to your doctor about it, and then the decision will be made. Or immunocompromising disease, same thing. Talk to your doctor about it. At the end of the day, what we have to realize is that vaccines are not absolute. We are talking about reduction risk, not absolute immunity. In the past, we've talked about, we've heard about herd immunity. Say NIPA, 40% of American population get vaccinated. You better build enough herd immunity and all those things. But the question still becomes: they said, say, what if you don't make it to that point where we build enough herd immunity? I saw a 23-year-old, and I think he is the longest COVID patient I actually saw myself at a hospital. 23-year-old young man. He was there for 60 days. He was intubated for 35 days. 23-year-old. On a vent for 35 days. The other person, and I just saw this guy at office Thursday, and I was very happy. He was on a vent for 3 weeks. Onya sacral ulcer. The whole right leg became paralyzed. Not because anything, but because COVID forms all these clots. So he lost function of his right leg. Yeah, discharged 3 months ago. He's been working with physical therapy. I just saw him on Thursday, and he says, I've just been discharged from physical therapy. I'm able to walk. I'm able to do everything. So now I'm home doing all these things. Mr. Ramo, this is real. People will talk, and your brother Patrick Kine, sometimes, Bible say, sometimes, we hide behind Christianity, our fears, and use Christianity as an excuse. No. Obiam enye na adwen so almost 666. Mekai said 2008 Obama win the election na Fox News ka say or the 666 be as one world order. 2018 etwam. Ya da so ha. Christo da so kan ho. This COVID will pass, but ehia obia so ye na famodie. you can have in America, you can have logistic questions about vaccines, and nobody will say, uni kwanse ubisa. But when you try to instill fear, say, oh, na virus ne krano and yeah real. Me anka sans me tie so be or no krum heya no one yet Africa. A krum heya no ne the say there are pandemics, but COVID is not a pandemic. And he's preaching to his congregation of 15,000 people. Say COVID is not a pandemic. I don't know what his definition of pandemic is, but I think COVID makes the mark. It's real. Oh, a question, time or no air call. Please, time and answer. Oh, a question now. We can try to take one or two more questions, but afterwards, no, we can answer your questions individually.